Hello, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Plague Doctor Stories. As always, I'm your host, the Plague Doctor. Today's story is Don't Turn Around. Sarah had always been drawn to old, abandoned places. They held a certain allure, a whisper of history that beckoned her to explore their forgotten secrets. So, when she stumbled upon the decaying mansion at the edge of town, she couldn't resist the urge to investigate. The mansion was a relic from a bygone era, its once grand facade now covered in ivory and its windows shattered. The locals spoke of it, claiming it was cursed, haunted by the spirits of those who had once called it home. Despite warnings, Sarah's curiosity got the best of her. She decided to spend a night inside the mansion. Armed with a flashlight and a backpack of essentials, she entered the dimly lit, dilapidated house. The grand foyer greeted her with a musty scent that seemed to seep from the very walls. Dust-covered furniture and faded portraits of long-forgotten residents adorned the entrance of the hall. As she ventured deeper into the mansion, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched, as if the eyes in those portraits followed her every move. Finally, she found herself in a dimly lit room, its walls adorned with faded wallpaper and once vibrant carpet, now patchwork of stains and wear. The room felt like a portal to another time, a place where memories and echoes of the past still lingered. She set up a single flickering candle on an old antique wooden table, the only source of light in the room. Its wavering flame cast an eerie shadow that danced along the walls, adding to the room's unsettling ambiance. The silence was broken only by a soft ticking of an ancient grandfather clock in the corner. And then, out of nowhere, came a whisper, a voice that seemed to come from the very walls themselves. "Don't turn around," it hissed, sending cold shivers down her spine. Sarah's breath caught in her throat as she clutched the edges of her chair, her knuckles turning white. She debated whether to head for the door and heed the warning, or dismiss it as a product of an overreactive imagination. Perhaps it was just a trick of the old house, she thought, trying to convince herself. But the voice had been so real, so chilling, that rationales explained nothing and seemed inadequate. Seconds ticked away like hours as she sat frozen, her heart pounding, bumping. The room seemed to come alive with darkness and malevolence, the shadows growing deeper, the air getting heavier with an unspoken threat. She had to know. She couldn't bear the suspense a second longer. Summoning her courage, she turned slowly to face the source of the voice, her heart pounding in her chest. To her astonishment, the chair behind her was empty, its cushion bearing only the dust of age. Panic welled up within her as she realized she was entirely alone in the room. But then, just as her racing heart began to steady, the whisper returned, this time right beside her ear. "You should have listened." Its breath, its cold breath, sent shivers down her spine. Sarah jerked back in terror, stumbling away from the chair, falling to the ground. The room plunged into an impenetrable darkness. The candle flame extinguished, as if by an unseen hand. Sarah was enveloped in blackness, disoriented and terrified. She fumbled for her phone, desperate for a source of light, but it remained frustratingly out of reach. And then, just as suddenly as the darkness had descended, the room filled with whispers, a canopy of voices from beyond, each one colder and more chilling than the last, surrounded her. Sarah strained to make out the words, but they were incomprehensible, a sinister symphony that threatened to unravel her sanity. She could feel a presence all around her, an unworldly force that seemed to mock her fear. Her mind raced, searching for an escape, but she was trapped, caught between the living and the dead. In the inky blackness, Sarah could only pray for a dawn that might release her from this nightmarish grasp. The horrors of the unknown closing in around her. And then the whispers fell to silence. And Sarah was never heard from again. As always, thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. If you like these stories, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Thank you. Subscribe.